You know, when two huge economies like India and the European Union sign a trade deal, we usually just talk about what's in it for them, right? But this new agreement they've just finalized, it's sending massive shockwaves way beyond their own borders, and it might just be pushing a neighboring country's entire industry to the brink of collapse. And listen, that's not me being dramatic. This is a direct and frankly alarming warning from the All Pakistan Textile Mills Association. We're talking about industry leaders in a complete panic, pleading with their government to do something before it's all too late. So the big question is, how on earth can a deal between two nations literally threaten to wipe out a third? Well, to understand that, we got to rewind a bit. We need to look at this massive, kind of hidden advantage Pakistan used to have, and see how this new deal just completely erased it, almost overnight. Okay, so to really get why everyone's panicking, you have to understand the old system, the way things used to work. It was a system that gave Pakistan a huge preferential advantage in one of the world's most valuable markets. And this right here, this is the prize they are all fighting over. The European Union is the single biggest market for textiles on the entire planet, importing a mind-boggling 250 billion euros worth every single year. And this isn't just about quantity, it's a high-value market where people pay for quality. So for a long time, Pakistan had this golden ticket, right? It was their special entry pass into this super lucrative market, and it was called GSP+. This program was designed to help out developing countries by basically letting them ship their goods to the EU without paying any of those pesky import taxes we call tariffs. And on this slide, you can really see the massive competitive imbalance this created. Because of GSP+, Pakistan was paying absolutely 0% in tariffs on its textiles. Meanwhile, its biggest regional competitor, India, was getting slapped with a pretty painful 12% tariff on the exact same products. And that 12-point head start, it was everything. I mean, absolutely everything. It's why the EU became their #1 customer. We're talking 40% of all their textile exports. That's nearly $9 billion worth, all heading straight to Europe. But things are changing. After almost 2 decades of back-and-forth negotiations, a brand new free trade agreement between India and the EU has just torn up the old rulebook. Now, this deal is huge, it's complex, but here's the bottom line for our story. It pretty much kills off tariffs on almost all goods traded between India and the EU. That means for India, a whopping 99% of what they sell to Europe is now going to be totally duty-free. And just look at how dramatic this shift is. That 12% penalty on Indian textiles, poof, gone, down to 0. Same for leather, same for electronics. I mean, the old walls have just come tumbling down. It's a total game changer. So, okay, what does all this mean for Pakistan? Well, to put it simply, their one big advantage, the thing that kept them in the game, it's just been wiped out, literally, overnight. All of a sudden, the playing field is level, right? Both Indian and Pakistani textiles can enter Europe with a 0% tariff. But here's the problem for Pakistan. The playing field was never really level to begin with. Those tariffs were just hiding a much bigger problem. See, the real issue, the fundamental problem, is that it just costs more to make the exact same shirt in Pakistan than it does in India. You've got higher power costs, higher taxes, higher cost for materials, the whole shebang. So their stuff is just more expensive to produce. That 12% tariff advantage used to hide this cost difference, but now it's out in the open for everyone to see. So let's do a little thought experiment. Put yourself in the shoes of a buyer for a big European clothing brand. You've got 2 identical shirts in front of you, one from India, one from Pakistan. Both are now tariff-free. Which one are you going to buy? Well, you're going to go for the cheaper one, right? And that simple, logical business decision is what puts Pakistan's whole industry on the brink. And the numbers here are just staggering. Industry leaders are warning that pretty much their entire $9 billion export market to the European Union is now at risk of just disappearing, swallowed up by their Indian competitors. But it's the human cost that's even more terrifying. The warnings are stark. If these exports dry up, something like 10 million jobs in Pakistan's textile sector could just vanish, a direct result of this deal. But listen, this isn't just a story about Pakistan. The ripple effects from this single trade deal are redrawing the economic map and creating brand new battlegrounds for trade all over the globe. I mean, think about it. What about other big textile players like Bangladesh or Vietnam or Turkey? All of them had some kind of special low-tax access to that massive EU market. But now they're all going head-to-head with this newly unleashed Indian export machine. And what this also shows us is a huge strategic pivot by the EU. They're clearly trying to branch out, diversify their supply chains, build new partnerships. And this deal pretty much screams to the world that India is now a key part of that new global strategy. So when you boil it all down, this whole situation reveals a really crucial truth about the world we live in. These modern trade deals, they're not just about economics, they're about power. This is really the perfect case study. It shows how these free trade agreements are used as incredibly powerful geopolitical tools. You can use them to completely reshape who depends on whom, to build new alliances, and to fundamentally shift the global balance of power. And you can do it all without firing a single shot. And that really leaves us with one final big question to think about. As the world's major powers keep making these huge deals, redrawing the trade map right before our eyes, the story of Pakistan is a pretty stark reminder of what's at stake. In this new global game, who gets to win and who gets left behind?